The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another week of the Financially Fit Podcast. I am your host, Andre Creighton. As always, thank you for continuing to rock with me. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. I hope that you get something fruitful from today's conversation. We have a good one today, as always. Today, we're talking a little bit about student loans. As some of you may or may not know, student loans are kicking back in this month, the month of October, and it's fortunate and unfortunate, probably for some people, right? If you're like me, I've enjoyed the little bit of the pause to be able to apply some of the money to other things that I wanted to do in my life and paying down other debts that maybe were a little higher interest. So hopefully you took advantage of that over this last kind of 2.5 to 3 year period during the pandemic. But as you know, the legislators have kind of blocked what Biden was planning to do as far as a one-time, payment. 20 grand if you were a Pell Grant student, and 10 grand if you make just under $125,000 and we're not a Pell Grant student. So no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, I think that we're all kind of searching for how are we going to tackle this after 3 years of living life differently. And I think, really we look at the economy, a lot of companies probably are searching for, what is this going to do to the consumer's purchasing power. I think we're going to start to see that, people are going to start going to the restaurants less, eating out. People are going to stop going to movies and doing a lot of those extracurricular things that they've enjoyed over the past, 2.5, 3 years once they could get back outside after the pandemic. So, I told you I usually start out with a story, but I think I'm just going to talk a little bit just about, where I am and how I'm thinking about my student loans as I go forward. So, for those that don't know, I do have an undergraduate degree in public accounting, and then I also have a master's degree in business administration with a focus in finance. So, I have gone to school twice. Apparently, I just love pain, and I do owe loans on both of those, at both of those institutions. All of mine are federal. I don't have any private loans, so that's helpful because there's more options for individuals that are where the government has lent you money. When you're in the private sector with a Wells Fargo or U.S. Bank or somewhere like that, there's a little less flexibility. So as I'm thinking about my student loans, I it, the education was necessary to help propel me forward in my life, but it is a little bit of a burden, right? I'm not able to, you know, do some of the things that my parents were able to do at my age. I'd love to have a little bigger house as my family's growing, but the house that we have is beautiful, and it's able to provide the needs or take care of the needs that we currently have. As I think about my student loans kicking back in, um, I'm going to be more of on an income driven program. My goal is to have them paid off in 10 years. I think that the plan that I'm on is my goal is to be done with them by the time I'm early 40s. And I think that as you are thinking about your student loans here over the next month, or 20 days before your payment, you should really think about a plan of, when do you want to have them paid off. You also should think about, do you realistically think that um, the government will not provide any type of forgiveness later down the line? Do you think this is a hard line in the sand? I'll tell you that my belief is that I don't think it's a hard line in the sand. I can date back to 2020 or 2013 when I was just first starting out in public accounting. I had a friend named Tristan Cohen. He was an attorney at the CPA firm I was working at, and I remember him telling me that he had gone through undergrad, he had gone through law school at one of the top law schools in the country, and he had a lot of student loan debt. And I remember him telling me that, yeah, I'm only paying the minimum on my student loans because at some point in our life, there's going to be some type of forgiveness. And you fast forward 10 years later, and people are now talking about that. So it was really cool to kind of see that come to fruition. I still believe that. I think that there will be something that comes down the line. So let's talk about it a little bit. There's over 43 million American, 43 million, sorry, 43 million Americans right now that have student loans, and the loan debt has reached 1.8 trillion dollars, which is a lot of money. So when you think about the government and them making a decision on forgiving loans and how much of it they're going to forgive, those are real dollars to the government, as they're thinking about forgiving or not forgiving. I think the other thing to talk about is, if you are a student that's getting ready to start college or you are in college, really understand the difference between unsubsidized and subsidized loans. So if you have an unsubsidized loan, that means that, the interest on that loan, it's not financial based. So basically, anyone in undergrad or graduate can get an unsubsidized loan from the government, but the interest accrues while you're in school, and there's no stoppage of that interest. So, I mean, that's very important to understand because there's also the subsidized loans, and those are limited and they're financial based. They're based on your income and things like that. But you don't accrue interest while you're in school, and you have to be in school at least half time to kind of defer that interest. The other thing is if you're in deferment, you don't accrue that interest as well, or you're not accruing interest over the time while you're in deferment. So that's very important, as college students or soon to be college students are thinking about different loans and like what do you want to do to set yourself up for a future. One of the biggest decisions that you're going to make as a high school senior or someone that's just starting college is the decisions about your loans, because those are things that you're going to have to pay back at some point, and you don't want to be in an upside down scenario where you chose a major that might not lend you a career that's going to make enough money to be able to pay those loans back fast. So you need to be very conscious of like, how many unsubsidized loans am I taking out? How many subsidized loans am I taking out? How many private loans am I taking out, if any at all? Like I said, I don't have any private loans. My personal belief was I just didn't want to work with the banks in that way, because of the flexibility, or lack thereof. And I was fortunate where I was able to get some pretty decent scholarships as well to go to college. So if you can factor in some of the scholarships by getting good grades and things like that, and then also having the balance of unsubsidized and subsidized loans, you could put yourself in a pretty good position. But the loans are inevitable, unless you're just a very rock star student and you have tremendous favor on your side, because it's very competitive. The other thing to talk about is really understand the difference between deferment and forbearance. So let's just say that now you've graduated college, you're into your career. Maybe you're not making as much money as you want to make. There are options to put your loans in deferment or forbearance. Um, if you put your loans in deferment, like I said, most times it pauses the interest. Um, And most of the time, from a deferment standpoint, that means that you're going back to school or something like that. If you put it in forbearance, though, the interest will continue to accrue during that forbearance period. And there's usually a limit on how long you can be in forbearance, but those are mostly for individuals if they're going through some type of financial hardship, or maybe they're going through some type of medical issue that is preventing them from working, so they can't pay on their loan. So you have options to be in forbearance. Unfortunately, though, the interest does continue to accrue, which is unfavorable for you. So, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is living and being able to enjoy life within your means, and being able to support your family, keep a roof over your head, things like that. Student loans kind of come after those things. So if you have to put them in forbearance because you just simply need to live, it's what needs to be done. Um, the other thing that I think should be talked about is um, the public service student loan forgiveness program. So if you work in a nonprofit, or you're a police officer or a nurse, or basically if you're a first responder, if you've been paying on your student loans for 10 years, you have 120 months of payments, you do have options to potentially have your loans forgiven. So that's a really, really cool benefit if you are, for like a first responder. I believe that includes teachers as well. So that's a really, really cool opportunity for those that um, are doing a lot of good work in some really important spaces in our world. So um, the other things to think about as you are kind of juggling your student loans, and trying to figure out how you're going to meet the payments. It's important that maybe you need to look at an income driven payment. So Biden did push out um, some some legislation that allows individuals to not pay more than 5% of their income um, on student loans. So it could definitely be more income based driven from a payment standpoint, not an annual pay, but from a payment standpoint, which is really cool. And I think can save some people some money. As you know, though, the lower the payment, the less it's going to principal, and is going to interest first. So, I think it will take yourself a little longer to pay off those loans, but it's a really good option if you need that flexibility, if your residual income's getting compressed. Um, Lastly, I just want to touch on this, and we're into the start of Q4 now, and I think this is the time, as I told you all in previous podcasts, I try to look at my budget every month, most definitely every quarter. And hopefully, you all have gotten into a tempo of looking at yours at least monthly or quarterly, or whatever tempo works for you. But this is a really good time, when you have big uh, expenses like student loan payments coming back into fruition for you, that this is a really good time for you to start to look at that budget again, right? And see what things have changed. Has your income changed? Are there credit cards that you've paid off? Are there other loans you've paid off? Did you just buy a new car and now you have another payment? Did you just buy a new house or refinance your home and your payment has changed? This is a really good time to really take a look at some of those things, and really be able to add in, your student loan payment, and see how that affects your residual income. Does it put you in a deficit, where you need to start to look at cutting back on some things, maybe some subscriptions, your Netflix, your Hulu's, or whatever there may be. Obviously, as I said, living is important, right? Being able to pay for your home, being able to put food on the table, and then student loans come somewhere after that, right? Well, in my in my purview, the Netflixes, the Hulus, sometimes even your gym memberships or things like that. Student loans probably should come before those things. because you don't want any derogatory marks on your record from a credit standpoint. But I think that this is a great time to really sit down and look at your budget, especially as the end of the year is approaching too. It's a good time to level set for 2024 as we approach the new year and really have a plan forward for what your plan of attack is for 2024. So hopefully today was helpful. As I always say, it's not about how much money you make. The power is in how much money you keep. Thank you for being with me today. I am your host, Andre Creighton. I'll see you later.
Hi, I'm Shaletta Brundage. You know what my family and I are doing for MEA weekend? Child, we are going on vacation. And I mean a real vacation. We will not be crisscrossing the state or the country taking my son Andrew to tour college campuses. We found the right fit for him right here in the Twin Cities. It's Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas. This 2-year college will put him on a path to his 4-year degree. With small class sizes, he'll build personal relationships. And I like the free laptops and books. At Doherty Family College, he even gets free bus fare and free breakfast and lunch. This means he won't have to take on debt to get his education. And just think, my son, a Tommy, and me, a Tommy Mommy. So for MEA weekend, save yourself some time and travel. Do what we did. Go to dfc.stthomas.edu and set up your own tour at Doherty Family College.
You're hearing about people who are coming down with a case of COVID-19, or maybe they're testing positive again. This fall, there are new variants circulating in our communities right now, so it's a good thing that there's a new shot to protect you from them. It's time to get the updated COVID-19 vaccine. Look, call your doctor's office or healthcare provider and see if you can get the new COVID vaccine there. Chances are you can get it for free. If you can't do that, call your local pharmacy and see if you can get it there. Chances are you can get it for free. Or you can go to this website to find a free shot near you. The web address is easy to remember. It's vaccines.gov. Here's how it's spelled. Vaccines, that's VACCINES, then a period, then gov, spelled G-O-V. Vaccines.gov. There's a good chance you can boost your immunity for free. So don't risk getting sick from COVID-19. Protect yourself, your family, and our community. Being a teenager today is a real roller coaster ride. Up, and sometimes down even lower. An organization called Treehouse is giving Minnesota teens the support they need to build resiliency. Treehouse is a faith-based nonprofit that offers teens a safe space to share their troubles and learn healthy coping skills with peers and caring adults. Right now, Treehouse needs more volunteers. Do you have a passion to help teens? And would you like to share your wisdom with a middle or high school student who's feeling hopeless? Then sign up to volunteer with Treehouse groups, meeting in Bloomington, Brooklyn Park, Plymouth, Minnetonka, and Eagan. Adult volunteers are needed as mentors, drivers, support group assistants, program assistants, and to help prepare hot meals. Lift up teens in our community and help them find hope and joy by volunteering with Treehouse. Learn more and sign up at treehousehope.org. Click on the Get Involved tab at the top of the page. That's treehousehope.org. The teens can't wait to meet you.
We are Treehouse!
It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes, and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now, so we're better prepared for the wants and needs of tomorrow. That's why Comcast is rolling out multi-gig internet speeds to more than 50 million homes and businesses before the end of 2025, making our already industry-leading network even faster, smarter, greener, and more reliable. Over the decades, Comcast has been your partner, working hard to serve your community, and will continue to be your partner we're expanding our gigabits so you can enjoy the tiny bits that matter most.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.